Jai Srimanarayana. Hello everyone, I am the Pauranika. Welcome to the third episode of the Mahabharata as written by sage Vedavyasa. This is Poushya Parva of Adi Parva. After narrating the Anukramanika Parva and Parva Sangraha Parva to the sages who gathered around him, Sauti continued. Once upon a time, King Janamejaya, son of Parikshit, along with his three brothers Shrutasena, Ugrasena and Bhimasena, started a yaga, a fire offering by name Dirghasatra. While the brothers engaged in the yaga, a dog came near the premises. The three mighty brothers of Janamejaya had beaten up the dog and he ran back to his mother weeping. The mother asked her son, "Why are you crying? What happened to you?" "The brothers of Janamejaya had hit me," he cried back. "Dear, have you done something to deserve their wrath?" she asked. "No, mother, I haven't. I haven't touched the offerings. I haven't even looked at them. Still, they had beaten me up." On hearing this, his mother Sarama went along with her son to the place where the yaga was happening. She addressed King Janamejaya angrily. "My son neither looked at the offerings nor licked them. Why did you hit him?" They had no answer to offer. Sarama, who was hurt by this despicable act, cursed them. "For beating up my son for a mistake he hasn't committed, I curse you to suffer with an unknown fear." The curse of Sarama caused great fear in the heart of Janamejaya. After completing the Dirghasatra Yaga, he went back to his capital, Hastinapura, but the shameful act committed by his brothers haunted him. He started searching for a priest who would rid him of this sin. One day, King Janamejaya went to the forest for hunting. There, he saw an ashram, a hermitage, and went there. There, a sage named Shrutashrava was living along with his son Somashrava, who was a great tapasvi, a person who spent most of his time in deep meditation. Something about the young hermit caught the attention of Janamejaya. The king immediately went to Shrutashrava and expressed his will to recruit Shrutashrava's son Somashrava as his priest. Shrutashrava said, "O great king, this son of mine is born from the womb of a snake. He is a learned man who possesses great abilities and he can rid you of all sins as long as they weren't willed by Mahadev, Lord Parameshwara. However, he has a principle he lives by. If any Brahmin seeks anything from him, he would give them away without a second thought. If you can tolerate the consequences of such actions, if you still wish to have him as your priest, please do take him along," the sage said. "It will happen so, Mahatma," Janamejaya said. Janamejaya returned with Somashrava as his priest and introduced him to his brothers. "I have chosen sage Somashrava as my priest. You must abide by his command without a second thought," he said. The brothers bowed to the king and the priest in acceptance. After giving the relevant instructions to his brothers, Janamejaya went on a war with Takshasila. There, he defeated the armies and captured the territory. Around the same time, there lived a sage by name Dhaumya. Under him, he had three disciples, Upamanyu, Aruni, and Veda. One day, Dhaumya called upon Aruni, who was born in the kingdom of Panchala, to build a bund in the field to block the flow of water. Due to the force of the water stream, he could not build the bund. When he failed to build the bund, in order to humor the decision of his guru, he decided to lie down in the mud to block the flow of water. When he did not return till the end of the day, Dhaumya, along with his other disciples, went to the field in search of Aruni. Aruni of Panchala, Dhaumya called out. Acharya! Aruni rose up from the mud and explained the situation. The teacher was impressed by Aruni's commitment towards his word and blessed him to obtain great knowledge. After obtaining the blessings of his teacher, he left the ashram and led a happy life. The second student was Upamanyu. Dhaumya assigned him the job of rearing the cows. He was a stout and a healthy boy. Once his teacher asked him, Upamanyu, how are you feeding yourself? You look healthier and stronger than others in the school. To which Upamanyu said, Acharya, I am begging alms and feeding on them. Dhaumya said, Upamanyu, you cannot eat the food without offering it to your teacher. Since then, Upamanyu started offering the entire alms to the teacher. After a few days, when he was still looking strong, Dhaumya inquired him again of his food arrangements, for which Upamanyu said that he was feeding on the milk of the cows. Dhaumya reprimanded him for doing that, as he was taking away the food that belonged to the calves. After a few days, when the teacher inquired again, Upamanyu said that he was feeding on the froth of the milk that emits when the calves drink the milk. The teacher prohibited him to do that either. One day, Upamanyu could not bear the hunger and ate the leaves of arka, which blinded him. While coming back to the hermitage, due to the lack of sight, he fell in a deep pit. Later at night, as he did not return, Dhaumya came searching for his disciple. Upamanyu, he called out. Acharya, I fell in this pit, Upamanyu announced and narrated his plight. The teacher then asked him to pray to the Ashwini Devatas, the divine doctors, so that he can regain his eyesight. Upamanyu did a stotra to the Ashwini gods and prayed to them with utmost reverence. The Ashwini Devatas were pleased by his devotion and appeared in front of him and offered him a cake. However, Upamanyu declined to consume it without offering it to his teacher. Impressed by his devotion to his teacher, the Ashwini Devatas reinstated his eyesight. The teacher later learned the story from Upamanyu and blessed him to obtain great knowledge. The last of Dhaumya's disciples was Veda. Dhaumya used to use him to do activities that involved lifting heavy weights and carrying loads. The man, however, tolerated the hardships. On impressing his teacher with his devotion and patience, he was rewarded with good fortune and intelligence. Later, on obtaining permission from his teacher, he had taken up Grihastha Ashrama, got married to a fine lady, and had 3 students under him. As he had gone through great hardships during his tenure with his teacher, he ensured that he would take great care of his students and would not assign tasks such as the ones his teacher assigned them. One of Veda's students was a boy named Uttanka. Uttanka was a devout scholar who had displayed utmost loyalty to his teacher during his time and impressed sage Veda. After completion of his education, Uttanka wanted to offer Guru Dakshina, fees for the education provided to him, to sage Veda. The teacher declined. On Uttanka's persistent perusal, Veda suggested him to check with his wife. Uttanka went to his Acharya's wife and asked, Amma, I obtained Acharya's permission to go home and I am keen on offering Guru Dakshina. Please let me know of such thing that shall be agreeable to you. Then she said, Dear Uttanka, Go to King Poushya and beg him for the earrings of his queen. In 4 days, I am performing a vrata and hosting few brahmanas. To that event, I want to wear those earrings. On hearing this, Uttanka took the blessings of his teacher and started to the palace of King Poushya immediately. On his way to the palace, he saw an enormous bull and a giant man mounting it. As he walked ahead, the man on the bull called Uttanka and said, "O sage, eat the dung of this bull. It would give you good fortune in the activity that you wish to do." Uttanka ignored him and walked ahead. The man, however, followed him and insisted that he must eat it as his teacher also once did. Uttanka ate the dung hurriedly and left to the palace. There, he stood in front of King Poushya and placed his request. The king asked him to go to the female quarters of the palace to meet the queen and obtain the earrings. When Uttanka went there, he could not find anyone. He came back to the king and said that he could not find the queen in the chambers. The king thought for a while and said, "O great sage, please recollect, if you had done any deed that would have made you impure, as then you would not be able to see my chaste wife." Uttanka recalled and said, "I have done my ablutions while standing. That would have been the reason." He immediately sat facing east, washed his face, hands and feet, and took the water thrice and wiped his face. This time, when he went to the queen's quarters, she was there. She received him respectfully and offered him the earrings on hearing his story. She also warned him that snake Takshaka was looking for these earrings, so he must be careful. On his way back on the road, Uttanka noticed the naked beggar who would appear for a moment and vanish in the next moment, following him. When Uttanka stopped to perform his ablutions and placed the rings on the ground, the beggar took the earrings and started running away. Uttanka, however, finished his prayers reverently and followed the beggar and caught him. As soon as he came in the grip of Uttanka, the beggar changed his form and became snake Takshaka and entered into a big hole in the ground. Uttanka tried to dig the hole but failed. Then Indra sent his thunderbolt, which then dug the hole deep and wide so that Uttanka could follow. There in the Nagaloka, Uttanka prayed to the snakes and asked for the earrings. However, he could not get them. Then he looked around and saw two women at a loom weaving a cloth with black and white threads. 6 boys were rotating a wheel with 12 leaves. A man sat on a giant horse. On looking at these, Uttanka then sang the praise of Lord Indra seeking his help. The man on the horse was impressed by Uttanka's devotion and asked him to blow into the horse. As soon as Uttanka did so, smoke and fire spread across the world of Nagas, and Takshaka came out running and handed over the earrings to Uttanka. As he needed to hand over the earrings to the wife of his Acharya on the same day, the man offered Uttanka the horse, which took him to the ashram in a moment. He handed over the earrings to his teacher's wife and she blessed him. Uttanka narrated the story to his teacher, and sage Veda told him that the woman who weaved the thread were Dhata and Vidhata, and the thread were day and the night. The 6 boys rotating the wheel are 6 seasons, and the 12 leaves of the wheel represent 12 months. The man on the horse was Parjanya, and the horse was the god of fire. The man on the bull he met earlier was Devendra, and the bull was Airavata, and the dung he ate was Amrita, and therefore he could survive in the world of Nagas. Uttanka was infuriated by the act of Takshaka and wished to get revenge. He went to King Janamejaya and told him that Janamejaya must get his revenge on the snake Takshaka as he killed Janamajaya's father Parikshit. Jai Sriman Narayana.